And the next video is starting now. Hello to those people who have somehow wandered onto a channel that nobody really talks about. I'm Pencil Marks. Yeah, so if you saw the last one, debatable, but if you saw the last one, I'm drawing free. Basically Paul Rodgers. I'm not drawing any of the other band, but this is all for a book that I'm creating, which is going to take until next year to work on. It's almost 3 o'clock, so I'll do an hour and then I'll be burnt out by the end of the day. Now, free albums, I haven't got many. You may know that album or a version of that picture. This is the first free album that was released, and it's just titled Free. But there is an album that uses that image. You don't get All Right Now on this one. All Right Now came, I think, Tongues of Sobs, no, Fire and Water. So this is the early free. And then there's this one, which is a fantastic album. I haven't got everything though, but that is a really good album. And then you get Fire and Water, which has got All Right Now on it. And there is also Heartbreaker, which has Wishing Well. They're the only ones I've got. Now, when Free ended around 1973, they went into... he joined up with Paul Rodgers joined up with King Crimson and Mott the Hoople, and they became Bad Company. Now, this is the era that I know Paul Rodgers more than Free. Free, All Right Now, one of the greatest rock songs ever written. Wishing Well, right up there. But then we get to Bad Company, and this is one of the early compilation albums. And then the one that you may find with Bad Company is this. And this has 2 unreleased versions of songs. So where am I at the moment? Before I start playing free albums, and they're about half an hour each. I'm here. So the reason I've done this circle is that the background was just a little bit, it's a concert footage, and the background was just this, and it works pretty well, but there was half a person on the back of around here and just further down, and I thought I'm not going to get a good image drawing this, so if I take this out and work on the picture as almost like a album cover t-shirt image from the 60s, it's going to look a bit better. What I'm doing at the moment, the frustrating thing, you put the guidelines in, and when you're doing this you have to take the guidelines out, and you have to remember where the guidelines were. So as I said in the last video, I would show you what I do to add a motion blur effect. Everything has to be light, lightly drawn. You go light, you go and you build to heavy, and you don't I don't smudge my lines. I don't do that because it just makes a mess, and it actually looks better where you can see the pencil strokes or pencil marks. Is that how I got the name? Yeah. Well, actually there was another name, and it technically still is on Facebook, but I've had enough of dealing with Facebook. I mean, everything that I do is the people on there, they're sitting there waiting for the new one, and in between they're not talking. They don't say anything, and I've got to the point where I've had enough posting on there and having these kind of things saying, your advert needs boosting, pay us £28, £35, £45, as much as you can, pay us your firstborn child, and you too can reach 6 account centres. I'm telling you now, as an artist who has run a page on there since 2013, don't. You may get something at the very beginning, but once you reach 1,000, you're a cash cow to them. And all that they want is money. And what are they going to use that money for? Well, look at the track record of these people, and it's not going to be used to save the world, is it? And I'm drawing free, and yeah, you listen to Free and you listen to their music, and it's a different world. But I got into Free. It was All Right Now that did it. Usually when you buy a compilation album, All Right Now is on it. 60s compilation, you'll hear that. It's as though they only released one song. They didn't. They had 6 albums, I think. There was a lot of albums. And it was in a very short period. I mean, the 60s was such a massive time for music. And when you think about it, it was only 10 years. And that's the thing about the 70s as well. You can wax lyrical about how awesome the 70s was, and yeah, I'll be there. I will say how amazing the 70s were. But when you think about it, it's 10 years. And at the start of the 70s, you had still this kind of music and the hippie era. And then it went to glam rock, and then it went to soul and disco. And then it went over to punk and surfer punk with the Ramones. And then it started going into electronic with Donna Summer and I Feel Love. And then we get up to the new romantics of the 80s, and look how the world changed so quickly in those genres, in those eras. They're only 10 years. Now look at what we've got. Does 2026 feel like 2011? There's no distinctive change in the pattern, and yet 2026 to, well, look at the films. The films are very much the same. When do we get a comedy? When do we find comedies now? When are they showing comedies? And they're not. They're, oh yeah, the Minions. They're comedies and animation. But do you know what? It's August, and I live in the UK. Now, for the longest time, summer holidays, which go from July to August, so school summer holidays, 6 weeks, and it was 6 weeks of absolute joy. And we had cartoons on TV. We had I grew up in the era of Transformers. I was a teenager during Transformers era. But we had Transformers, and there was also the GoBots, which we laughed at, but still there was GoBots. We had a program called Whack-A-Day, and then they started showing usually films such as War Games, that was on all the time, Space Camp, Daryl, Flight of the Navigator, that was on quite a lot. It got boring that they were showing these films all the time, but then you get BBC, and BBC would show past programmes and also programmes that they made for the Saturday morning show. So you'd have Take Heart with Tony Hart, and you'd have they'd show episodes of the Batman TV series, and then afterwards you'd have episodes of Lucan and the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk TV series, and the Spider-Man TV series, all gone. And now these poor children haven't got that cultural reference. And we've got music being taken away as well. It's there, but the algorithm buries it. And this is why I will live in the past forever. I don't like the future. We were told it was told in the 70s that don't worry, the future will be better. We will have robots, we will have flying cars, we will have all of the other things. Well, yeah, we got robots, but the problem is the robots that we've got now are run by faceless corporations who haven't got our best interest at heart, and oh, here's a dog robot and let's put a flamethrower on the back of it. That is not what I call a robot. A robot for me, which is actually a term for the word slave, but a robot for me is R2-D2 and C-3PO. Friendly, helpful, not there to steal jobs, not there to take humans away. And certainly the idea of destroying books for AI, destroying antique books for AI, is one of the most insidious, hideous things that I have ever heard. This side of what happened in World War II with them book burning. And there were other people in America that were burning music and comic books. Well, music sets you free. I think that's where they got the name from. But music sets you free. Listen to music, not on digital streaming platforms. Go out, get a CD player. The thing is about the vinyl, I love vinyl. There was a period, and I bet you were there when, if you're watching this now, some of you may be there, and they said, nobody wants vinyl anymore, get rid of it. And people threw it in the tip, and they destroyed it. Well, I didn't. You see, when people were getting rid of vinyl in the 90s, because, hey, we've got CDs and mini disc and all the other things, and we can buy the Beatles' White Album constantly, I saw an opportunity and thought, well, if they're selling off the vinyl at sometimes 49 pence, but then again, vinyl was that kind of price in the 70s. You could buy albums for 49p. People forget that. But you could easily get an album for £6.99 and then it'd be on sale and it'd be £2. Hey, £2 music, I'll have that. And I started buying vinyl. I bought quite a lot of vinyl. And I bought my CDs and I kept them. And this idea about disc rot, well, I've had one DVD that has conked out. One disc that has conked out. A Thundercats episode, and I had to buy a new edition of that series, a box set, and go through it again. And I changed two discs, and if it didn't play it, I just swapped the discs out. But for CDs, I've never had a problem. So these CDs here, this one is free. It's a past masters. I think it was released about 1992 for that one. From an album from the 60s. I think it was released around 1992. And it'll run fine. The one that I played yesterday, Heartbreaker. Yeah, it's 1972. I can't see the time it was printed, but they released them again about 1992 on Island Masters. Never had a problem with them. So I just go on to Discogs and buy the albums that I'm missing. Anyway, I will switch this off because it's going to take ages to do this. But that's roughly what I've done for the blur, for the hand blur. Now this part of Paul Rogers' face, there's still some work got to be done. It's there, but it just needs a little bit of refining, and when you do this line work, it can look a little bit like it's cut out, and you've just got to soften up the edges, especially for this. But it's always go light and build to heavy. That's where I am now, and I'll be working my way down, and then when I've done his jeans it'll be finished. Okay, that's the end of this video. See ya.